Good evening, everyone. I'd like to get this City Council, Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, and Financing Authority underway. The regular session agenda. It is 6:39. I know that Mr. Hodge and Mr. Castro are here. They're just not here, in here. We'll go ahead with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kim, could you call Starbucks and see if Mr. Hodge is on his way?
I think the Starbucks did just move the here back there.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to defer to our legal counsel with regard to closed session items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for the record, Councilman Castro did arrive at 5:45 before the discussion started on closed session, so all 5 council members were present to discuss items 1 and 2. On the closed session agenda, direction was given, no reportable action was taken. On item 3 of closed session, Councilmember Hodge and Councilmember Hurtado did not participate due to a potential conflict of interest. On that item, direction was given, no reportable action was taken. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda. Moved by Councilwoman Hurtado. Is there a second?
Second with the discussions.
Second by Mr. Kim for discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Kim.
Okay, I request put it on the agenda for this meeting for the Major H, the bond, all the information, necessary documents, and we're going to discuss about how we're going to spend the money, and it's not in here. And also, I believe Mr. Hodge was requested it put in the agenda for the hire the officers with the Major H money. Is not in agenda neither. So I don't know who made the own decision to cancel the request. Mr. Mayor did make the decision to not to put it in, or city manager make the decision not to put it in?
Mr. Kim, I did not make that decision, but I will defer this to city manager.
But why is not here?
Well, I'm deferring to city manager right now.
We are working diligently to prepare the fiscal year 2014-2015 budget, which includes an in-depth analysis of the Measure H money. We have done quite a bit of work on that, and we're not prepared at this time to present it to the City Council. And so, for that reason, it's not on the agenda this evening. Once we have compiled that information, we will go ahead and take care of that.
May I add, since he brought that up?
Yes, Mr. Hodge, just a minute. Anything else, Mr. Kim?
Yeah, but why I cannot have the document from our city staff about the Major H bond, the issues out there as public information?
I will say this, in response to Councilmember Kim's request, I did have Marshall Lynn prepare a memorandum regarding the issuance of the Measure H bonds. And I did distribute that to the entire City Council, which you have a copy of.
But I don't have any information of the bond issue that we received the money. That's what I heard. And the bond information go out there here as the internet like this.
Mr. Kim, please keep your voice down and address
and
the city. Mr. Kim,
yes,
please address the city manager.
Okay.
And ask him your question and your request.
Not even simple information document. We already been issued the bond.
Okay.
Why cannot have the city council member?
Mr. Kim, you've already asked that question.
Why has to be
Mr. Kim, you've already asked that question.
Yes.
We are going to get to it at the
but
next city council meeting. But why have to be
before the Marshall? That's what I'm saying. That's the document we're supposed to have from ourselves.
Please refer your question to city manager. Why Mr. Marshall has to give that information?
No, we've already prepared information regarding the issuance of the bond at the request of Mr. Kim. The actual financial analysis regarding what's been spent, what's been collected, we're still in the process of doing, and I would hope that the council, considering all that's been going on the last 2 weeks, would work with us and be patient as we work on the various financial issues that are facing this community, including the preparation of the 2014-2015 budget. At that time, all the information will be there, and the City Council will see, where all the funds of the city are in all the various accounting funds.
Why we need to get the blocking? City council member, we
Mr.
cannot
Kim,
have
right now
information
is
on
not the time. You're asking a question. This is a discussion. Mr.
Because they have
Hodge,
already
you have,
requested.
Mr. Hodge, you have a question? Go ahead.
I just wanted to add, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Kim. And so, City Manager, then the rationale that you're telling me about working on the budget and everything, it holds to my request also about the police officers.
That's correct.
That was approved by City Council through Measure H and the COPS grant. I hope we find out where that money's at and where.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the City Council is going to know, since Measure H was passed, how much money has come in, where the money has been spent, and you're going to see where every nickel goes. We're not trying to avoid doing it, but when you ask for items to be put on the agenda, every time there's 4 or 5 items, if you'll just work with us while we prepare the budget, we would appreciate you doing that. I've only been here 35 days. I hope I can get some indulgence and we can move forward. It's not our intention to keep the council from having the information.
No, you're just working on the budget and you want to do it right.
And you'll have it.
And you hopefully by the 19th, sir?
I'm hopeful that we'll have the budget by the 19th.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Hurtado, did you have a question?
I'll just call for the question, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favor, please. Excuse me,
I request to put in the agenda, not the
Wait a minute, Mr.
Why
Kim.
we didn't get
Mr.
the
Kim,
item
I
this
am
one?
running the meeting. Please respect the chair. The
Well-
chair does not recognize you.
Chair doesn't recognize
Okay,
you.
the chair doesn't.
So
We
you're
call.
me
We
out.
have a call for the
You're me
question.
out.
We have a call for the question. We have to vote on the call for the question. There's a first. Is there a second for the call for the question?
There's a second.
Okay. All those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Oppose.
Opposed. 3-2. Motion carries for the call for the question. Now to vote on the approval of the agenda.
Geez, that's all we're doing?
That's all we're doing. There was a motion made by Ms. Hurtado and a second by Mr. Kim for discussion. Discussion is now over. Please vote.
There's no second yet.
Yes, you seconded for discussion.
Discussion, but
But
I
the
withdraw my
discussion is
second.
over.
I
Excuse
withdraw
me.
my discussion.
The
I'm second.
discussion is over. You seconded for discussion. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
I withdraw my
Please
second.
vote. Thank you. Motion carries 4-1. We have a presentation by Ms. Shannon Roberts on the Housing Authority activities for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014. Are you ready to make that presentation, Ms. Roberts? Okay. Come forward to one of the podiums here and address the council.
I think you don't trust this one, no.
Good evening, Honorable City Council. I'm here today to present my exit report as chairperson for activities that have transpired for fiscal year 2013 through 2014. But first, I'd like to provide a little bit of history of the Housing Authority of the City of Calexico. The authority is a public agency independent from the City of Calexico that runs its own business. It receives funding from the federal government. However, the California Health and Safety Code, Section 34271, calls for the City of Calexico mayor to appoint 5 members from the community and 2 resident commissioners. In spring of 2001, the Housing Authority was designated as a troubled agency due to the board's commission getting involved in the daily operations of the agency and micromanaging. HUD came in and took over at that time. In spring of 2002, the entire board was removed by the federal government, and the City Council took over temporarily, acting as the Housing Authority Board. During that time, the City Council was trained by the federal government to appraise their roles and responsibilities, as well as training and search for new members of the board that would be responsible in following roles and responsibilities as housing commissioners. At that time, the federal government stressed to the City Council not to reappoint former board members who, even after training, they continued to exceed their roles and responsibilities as commissioners and continued to micromanage the agency. In addition, they encouraged the appointment of new board members that will help the agency succeed with the following backgrounds: educational field, real estate and/or property management, legal field, CPA finance, and/or architectural engineering. In 2005, the City Council appointed 5 members of the community, myself included, and 2 authority residents, each of us coming from one of the backgrounds above mentioned. It took some time and overcoming quite a few obstacles, but we took that agency from being designated trouble to a high-performing agency. Up until fiscal year June 30th, 2012, significant improvements had been made. This brings me to the present and very disturbing recent events. Since the most recent appointments of new commissioners, there have been repeated violations of the Brown Act, unethical actions using their title as commissioner to intimidate or try to get special favors, secret meetings being held repeatedly, attempting to micromanage the staff, just to name a few. All this occurring and continuing regardless of board training in 2012 and 2013 by professional expert and training by HUD officials, more recently in March 2014. In my 9 years as a commissioner, I have never witnessed such a blatant disregard for the law and the rules that govern our board. We also nearly lost $1.2 million due to the actions of these new commissioners. They even attempted, unsuccessfully I might add, to remove me as chairperson, not once, but twice, solely because I didn't agree with what they were attempting to do. Being extremely concerned with what was happening, I contacted HUD offices and asked for direction. I was told to speak with the mayor, which I did at that time. I also invited city council members to attend our meetings so they could see firsthand what was transpiring. Several members attended, but no action was taken. I would strongly recommend, in addition to HUD's suggested backgrounds, that you consider these points in appointing new board members. 1, to be bilingual, Spanish and English. 2, have high integrity and ethical standards. 3, no personal interest that leads to conflict of interest. 4, not to be involved in other commissions. 5, not to be appointed as a political favor. 6, consideration should also be given to the candidate's geographical location within the city and proximity to the housing authority developments. 7, also to ask potential commissioners from the community if they have family members that are housing residents. 8, no criminal history, whether convicted or accused. These in addition to the HUD recommended backgrounds. I feel it's my responsibility as former chairperson of the Calexico Housing Authority and as a citizen of Calexico to report that I believe if the current board remains intact and significant replacements not made, the reputation of the agency will suffer and have a very negative impact not only on the agency but ultimately the City Council as well as you make the appointments, something I'm sure you don't want to see happen. It's disheartening to see 9 years of hard work and dedication begin to fall apart and suffer due to the actions of so few. I'd be happy to discuss in further detail with you any of the above-mentioned items. Finally, it's truly been an honor and pleasure to serve as commissioner for the past 9 years. I've enjoyed watching the changes and growth in this organization and look forward to keeping abreast of the progress the agency makes. However, due to changes in my personal life, I respectfully submit my resignation from the board effective immediately. Please do not hesitate to contact me if any questions arise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Moving on to item number 2 in the awards presentation, appointments, proclamations. There's a proclamation of the City of Calexico proclaiming the month of September 2014 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And I will read the proclamation. Whereas the American Cancer Fund for Children and Kids Cancer Connection report cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among U.S. children between infancy and age 15. This tragic disease is detected in nearly 15,000 of our country's young people each and every year. Whereas 1 in 5 of our nation's children loses his or her battle with cancer. Many infants, children, and teens will suffer from long-term effects of comprehensive treatment, including secondary cancers. And whereas founded over 20 years ago by Stephen Firestein, a member of the philanthropic Max Factor family, the American Cancer Fund for Children Incorporated and Kids Cancer Connection Incorporated are dedicated to helping these children and their families. And whereas the American Cancer Fund for Children and Kids Cancer Connection provide a variety of vital patient psychosocial services to children undergoing cancer treatment at Rady Children's Hospital, San Diego, Kaiser Permanente San Diego Medical Center, as well as participating hospitals throughout the country, thereby enhancing the quality of life for these children and their families. And whereas the American Cancer Fund for Children and Kids Cancer Connection also sponsor nationwide Courageous Kid Recognition Award ceremonies and hospital celebrations in honor of a child's determination and bravery to fight the battle against childhood cancer. Therefore, be it resolved that the month of September 2014 be declared Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the city of Calexico. I witness whereof I hereunto affix my signature and official seal of the city of Calexico on this 5th day of August 2014. Thank you. And who would get the award? Relay for Life?
Yeah, Relay for Life.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is public comments, public appearances. Not to exceed 3 minutes. Our mayor, I'm sorry?
Excuse me, the Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, successor agency.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped. That's right. This is item 3, which is the Community Redevelopment Agency, successor agency discussion and potential action items. Number 3, approval of resolution of the Board of Directors of the successor agency to the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Calexico authorizing the issuance and sale of tax allocation refunding bonds and approving the form of an indenture of trust, official statement, bond purchase contract, continuing disclosure agreement, 2003A Bonds Escrow Agreement, 2003C Bonds Escrow Agreement, and related documents, and authorizing certain other actions in connections therewith. And at this point, Mr. Warren, if you could give us a staff report.
I'm going to turn the time over to Marshall Lynn, who's going to do the staff presentation.
Thank you.
Very much, Mr. Warren. And again, it's a pleasure to be here. And in fact, it was kind of interesting that Mr. Castro made a comment to me come in today. He said, "You haven't been around," but Mr. Castro, I think I'm here like every week. So I'm still extremely involved in the city business, and we're trying to work through some issues here, and we're making excellent progress. I'll be extremely brief on a fairly complex topic tonight. I'm I'm pleased to be here tonight because I like to appear in front of the successor agency of the council, particularly in items where we can save the city money. And tonight we certainly have an opportunity. The council will recall that with the ending of RDAs, that one thing that was left still in the law, that if an RDA finds that they're eligible to go ahead and refinance their existing bonds, under current law, we can go ahead and do that. Now, refinancing your existing bonds is like if you own your own home, you had a mortgage for 6%, and the interest rates dropped down to 4.5%, most likely you're going to go ahead and refinance that house again because it saves money and lowers the payment. Same thing happens with your tax allocation bonds. Now, in 2003, the old RDA issued $16,120,000 in merged central district and residential redevelopment tax allocation refunding bonds. This was done again in the summer of 2003. Later on in the fall of that year, another issue was done for the merged central business district and residential RDA project area, issue 2000C in the amount of $8,600,000. The successor agency of the RDA has assumed the responsibility for the payment of the bonds because you no longer have an RDA. So you as a successor agency, in fact, are acting in a role that the old RDA board used to be. But per AB 1484, which was the legislation that ended RDAs, the successor agency may refund existing bonds with the approval of the State Department of Finance for the purpose of creating savings. Now, we all know that over the last couple of years that savings, the interest rates have been dropping. I think that we're also aware, too, by just picking up the newspapers and those of you that read the Wall Street Journal or what have you, quantitative easing has now been ended somewhat by the federal government, and we all are very, very, very sure that interest rates will start to go up. So it's most opportune that we take advantage of the timing that we have to get this done. The process to go ahead with a refunding is a fairly complex process and takes a lot of professionals. We have a bond counsel, disclosure counsel, financial advisor, and underwriter, the whole group of gamut of people that we've always used historically as we've issued bonds over the years here. With the one caveat that we have to send our whole packet of papers to get approval from DOF or the Department of Finance at the state of California. That takes a 60-day period, which they have to go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Prior to us even assuming that the successor agency votes positively on this issue, we have to have a oversight board meeting very, very quickly. The oversight board then will hopefully approve the documents, go up to DOF, and then the time clock will start to run, and if everything goes well, we should be able to sell the bonds probably by the month of November and close the transaction by the end of this calendar year. Savings right now are assumed to be $1.8 million, which will go to all the tax agencies for the city of Calexico, receiving a little over $500,000 in savings. So that's a lot of money. That's an awful lot of money that would actually come into the general fund coffers of the city. And this, of course, is over a period of 13 years. Now, I can't guarantee those numbers were run yesterday. I can't guarantee what rates will be 90 days from now. I just don't know, or 60 days from now. Hopefully they'll be down. Just don't know, but we'll just have to take our chances, and we have to move through this process. Filed within the office of the city clerk, and by the way, I want to let Gabby know that I appreciate her work the other night. She was working on documents very, very late at night, got them all done. Excuse me, I lost my place here. Oh, let's go back to the savings. The savings, I believe, about $1.8 million, over about $139,000 per year. And again, the net savings to the city itself of about $500,000. There's a correction to be made in the resolution. The resolution itself has a typo, and that's not Gabby's fault, it's my fault. Within the resolution, on page 2 of the resolution, under the 1, 2, 3, 4th whereases, it says talks about a principal amount of $17 million. It should be $18,500,000. And in section number 1, that on the third line down, that should be changed from $17 million to $18.5 million. That is the combination of the par amount of the Series A and Series C bonds. I think that it's imperative that we move tonight, and I strongly encourage the successor agency to vote on the successor agency in the affirmative tonight. Now, if there's any questions about the bond issue or the structure or anything else such as that, I'll do my best to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, Mr. Lynn, what we're looking at is just reconfiguring this bond that we have to save money.
That is correct. And by the way, we are not extending the term out at all. The term term will end in 13 years. The term of the new bonds will just be for 13 years. Under current state law, a refunding bond issue cannot extend the term of the original bond issue.
Okay. I will bring it back to council if they have any questions.
Makes sense.
Anybody have any questions?
I just had one comment.
Yes.
Councilmember Kim met with me earlier today. One of the questions he asked was the issuance cost. And we've put a document in front of you that does have the issuance costs, and I just want to make sure that Councilmember Kim has that and let him know that we've been responsive to his request. So if there's any questions regarding the issuance costs, Mr. Lynn, I'm sure will be happy to discuss them.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Warren.
So how much issuance cost?
Mr. Kim, the numbers that we gave you on the cash flows, the latest cash flows, are basically plug numbers. They're actually estimates right now. And these will be honed as we get closer to the closing date. Bond issues are expensive to do. One of the things that we're going to do here, the city itself most likely, or the successor agency most likely, will receive an A- rating from Standard & Poor's. That's pretty much where we think that will be. That's a very, very high rating for a city of this size to have. Anything in the A category is just terrific. We will do an analysis whether it makes sense to buy bond insurance. If we buy bond insurance, then we'll have a AAA rating. But we'll do the math. We'll do the math if it makes sense. If the total debt service with insurance is cheaper than total debt service without it, well, we'll go ahead and buy the bond insurance. We have a line item saved for that insurance. We're estimating, by the way, we'll put it out to bid. We're estimating that cost to be about $215,000. This will change, most likely be downward. The underwriter's discount, $166,000. That's what we have to pay the investment banker. We will negotiate that down for you. You'll save a lot of money in that. Again, it's just a plug number. The cost of issuance basically pays for bond counsel, disclosure counsel, financial advisor, printing, rating that we have to pay Standard & Poor's for the rating, verification agency, and miscellaneous costs. So if you back out the insurance, it's about $380,000 with the insurance, and again, just estimates of $581,000. So the numbers on savings that I quoted you are net of these numbers, So that's pretty much where we are. And again, my role as the FA here will be to work with people gently to bring down the cost of where possible, because every dollar that we save in the cost of issuance is more money in your pocket.
So how much are we talking about the refinancing? $18 million?
Pardon me?
$18 million for $18 million? $18.4 million?
John, can you?
The refinancing.
How much the total cost
Yeah,
of refinancing?
the par amount of the bonds will be $18,428,000. That's the par amount of bonds.
That's the refinancing. Cost us the $584,000.
About $581,000. Actually, $581,882.
No, but they have at the bottom put together like a $484,000.
No,
They have a $2,100 more. So you're talking about the $584,000.
The $2,130, that is a rounding number. That's just a rounding number.
Yes, that's all estimated.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Just a
Doesn't have
rounding
to be $1 perfect. So totally like a $584,000 cost us to refinancing on this.
That could be the cost, again, depending upon where the insurance premium bid comes in. It could be.
That's
could
your
be lower.
estimated cost right
Yes,
now.
the estimated cost right now,
Yes.
that's correct.
And how much interest rate estimated?
Pardon me?
How much interest rate estimated? Interest rate.
The interest rate, we are estimating a true interest cost of 2.788 and a net interest cost of 3.048. The term bonds will go at a rate from, the serial bonds will go from 3% to 5% for both the 2000A and 2000C series. The 3% bonds will go serial bonds 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, with the yield going from 0.410 to a high yield again to 2.60, with the term bonds 2003, 23, 24 yields interest rate of 5 to yield 2.85 to 3.01. So we're getting exceptionally fine rates. We're getting absolutely just terrific rates. A little bit difference on the C bonds. We'll go from a true yield of 0.41 for the short serials to the term bond at the end of the structure, the 3.50. So it's extremely excellent rates. I mean, the market is just screaming for paper, and I hope it's still there when we come to the marketplace.
So is there any cash we pull out the money from the bond?
Pardon me?
When we refinancing this bond, do we pull out some cash?
No, you will not pull on any cash.
So how are we going to pay the $584,000?
Yeah, everything,
cost?
all the savings accrue to the tax agencies. The schools will get part of it. The county of Imperial will get part of it. Every taxing authority that has a tax rate within the boundaries of the old RDA will save money. You as a city have a tax rate within the old RDA project area. You happen to have a very high tax rate, about 28 cents. So that works out to about $500,000 and change.
So this one is when we approved, the school district has to approve it, county has to approve it.
Everybody benefits from it. Everybody benefits from it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question for our city manager, Mr. Warren. What is RFP process? We should have some bidding, so whoever bring the better deal, lower interest rate, and lower cost.
I'm sorry, what's your question, sir?
We're not shopping. Where is proof that we've been shopping for that? I believe during the briefing, our staff to shopping the price, so they will find a better price.
Well,
and why not this time to do those kind of things?
Well, when you market the bonds, and Mr. Lin can talk about that process, there is a competitive process in placement of the bonds.
Yes, you could, Mr. Kim. If you elected to do so, you can go to a competitive bid on the bonds. And let me tell you the reason that that redevelopment agencies or successor agencies do not do that. When you have set up a competitive bond sale, whether it be on wastewater bonds or water bonds or whatever, you pick a time and place in the marketplace that day that you have to go out and sell those bonds. You have a lot of turmoil in the world. A lot of turmoil. You have a lot of things happening every day. You look at what's happening on the stock market in the last week. When you set that date, you have to, if you don't accept the bid, that when it comes in, your bid becomes stale. You go out again and you'll have fewer bidders. 99.9% of successor agency refundings are done on a competitive basis, where staff and your advisors work on the best possible day to go ahead and sell those bonds. We would not sell bonds on a day when we would have Crimea and Russia throwing grenades at each other, because rates would go up. So at least it gives us the flexibility. You also we'll find it cheaper. And people say, no, when you go on a competitive basis, it's better. It's not. We'll be actually able to show you with numbers that will be cheaper for you to issue on a negotiated basis as opposed to a competitive basis. And you assure yourself in the city here of getting the best possible rate. You just do. That's just the way it is.
Okay, so there's a ceasefire in the Middle East. Are we okay?
Mr. Mayor, we hope it's okay for the next 60 days. I can't guarantee that either.
60 minutes.
Any other questions?
Do we gonna get another final approval with the interest rate?
Well, no, you will not get final approval. No, you won't. The final approval will not come until we actually price the bond. What happens, as I said, once the successor agency approves it tonight, which hopefully you will, the next item is that the oversight board will approve it. The whole package then is sent to DOF, the Department of Finance of Sacramento. They'll approve it. Then we go out on a competitive basis. We're probably a good 60 to 75 days away from actually getting the price. And what we find in November, that will be the price. Now, something good will happen. November is election time. And generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, I can't guarantee it, generally speaking, interest rates stay down during national election time. And that's when we will be hitting in the marketplace. So I can't guarantee the rate, but I think we're doing everything in our power to put ourselves in a position to get the best possible rate.
Yeah, but I believe the Fed decided to keep the low interest rate more longer.
Yeah, we're hoping that happens, but Mr. Kim, you're well aware that the Fed has been at a zero rate for, about a year to 2 years now, and when you start tracking it, there's been a lot of noise made at the Fed that rates are going to go up now. Quantitative easing has been cut back dramatically. The economy has absorbed this. Sooner or later, it's going to break, but I don't see a mass movement of rate differential, but every basis point, which is defined as one 100th of a percent, every basis point that we save you is money in your pocket. Our goal and our role is to get you the best possible price. That's what you pay us for. We work for you. Bankers, by the way, under the new SEC regulations, investment bankers have to send a letter, which they've already sent to the city manager, that they do not represent the city. They do not represent your interests. The firm that the financial advisor represents your interests. We have a fiduciary obligation to the city of Calexico to get you the best rate. They don't have to. We do. And we abide by the SEC rulings. And we're registered with the SEC to do that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lin. Is there a motion for approval?
A motion for its approval?
I'll second that.
Moved by Mr. Hurtado, seconded by Mr. Hodge. Please vote. Okay. Motion carries.
And Mayor, that was for the revised reso that's on the dais that has the 18.5 million number that
Okay.
the change. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Public comments and public appearances, not to exceed 3 minutes, and Mayor Pro Tem Kim will be the timekeeper. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter's jurisdiction of the City Council. The Mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is a closed session or consent item, please comment now. The City Council is prohibited by the state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. If the item you wish to comment on is in the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to that item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. You can pick up a form if you would like to speak in the back. I have one here from Mr. Ben Horton in the public comments section.
Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the City Council, the reason I come up here today, and I had the subject item is, got the time going down now, the subject item is the city manager. One of the things that I wanted to do was to commend the City Council for one, and the public as another, for bringing a person that has, let's say, character and the moral fortitude to do the job when the job gets tough. I have to commend the City Council in selecting Richard to be part of our group here, to be part of the team of success. And I think the success is moving to, in fact, this agenda, I like the way it's put together. I like the way the meeting's running. I like the fact that the city is seeing something that it hadn't seen in a long time, structure. And structure is what we need in order to move the city forward. And I have to commend the City Council, but also I have to commend the city manager for doing a great, great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Horton. Much appreciated. I have now Mr. Alberto Chavira.
to each.
Okay.
Spanish. ¿Es en español, verdad? Bueno, he tenido un problema muy grande desde el temblor para acá. El Estado me reemplazó, mi nuevo home vino abajo y el Estado me la reemplazó por una nueva. Pero mi sorpresa, cuando me la entregaron con 5 puertas malas nomás, 5 ventanas malas, el refrigerador en mal estado, la estufa explotando y bueno, ojalá que hubiera acabado ahí, ¿no? La sorpresa es que me lo entregaron con el aire acondicionado nuevecito, un day and night, pintado, door seal, pintado, las puertas pintadas. En 3 años han venido de San Bernardino, Fredwood, a tratar de repararlas, pero ahí nomás queda, porque las han descompuesto. Cobran $200, $300 y se van, y las puertas están, si las miran no lo van a creer, pero es insólito este caso. O sea que, como dicen ahí en las hojas, mi familia está aterrada por esto. Ni un segundo han trabajado las puertas bien. Tiene unas aberturas así que se meten moscas y se meten todo tipo de animales ahí por las puertas, pero parece que le hicieron el contrato decía trabajo profesionalmente hecho, fue todo lo contrario. Pintaron los postes del Porsche, el contratista de Pioneer me robó la gutter, el canal, la parte principal del Porsche, me puso uno más chico de pura lámina, era de aluminio el mío, y tuvo que cortar un pedazo para que cupiera el Porsche ahí, y luego me dejó los escalones afuera, y le hablé, oye, le dije, pues me estoy mojando, mi familia está cayendo, dice, ¿cómo? Dijo, pues no, 40 pies de Porsche y me dejaron escalones afuera, cada que llueve, tremendas azotadas que nos podemos dar ahí, pero es un desastre, incomprensible, por eso estoy aquí pidiéndole la ayuda. He venido 3 años y medio y no han podido arreglar nada. Nada han podido arreglar. Las puertas del CIN, a los 3 meses las reporté a Fleetwood, le di todos los datos de las cosas que estaban mal, se vino abajo toda la pintura de las puertas del CIN, y la del baño también, la puerta del baño está mal, el inverter no ha trabajado un segundo. Cuando vinieron una vez de Fleetwood, cambiaron una perilla del agua fría, la del agua caliente no, la cambiaron, ahora está negra. El zinc, si lo pueden ver, está, no digo mal, ojalá que dijera malísimo, está asqueroso. Así que si yo lo trajera, iban a decir, ay, carajo, este trabajo, ¿por quién fue hecho? Pues ahí el contrato, tiene un contrato que sea profesional, todo el trabajo debe ser hecho de una manera profesional posible. Pues, he sido injuriado. Mi familia, le dije a mi esposo, había ayúdame. No, hombre, ya se la comían ahí entre la Redevelopment Agency, lo que es Terry Nova y David Tremeño, ya se la acababan. Se burlaron de ella. ¿Cómo lo hacen de mí? Pero como yo estoy solo, pero le entro. Por eso necesito su comprensión y ayuda lo más rápido posible, a ver qué.
Ok. Gracias, señor Chavira. ¿Hay preguntas? Do you have a question?
Well, I want clarification. This was a mobile home that was contract purchased after the earthquake, right? Or was it given to him by the city?
Esta es una casa que compraste aquí, ¿a dónde en Calexico?
El 4 de abril del 2010, en el temblor de 7.2, se vino abajo y el Estado generosamente nos ayudó a que nos la pusieran, la reemplazaran.
Came down during the earthquake. Is there any assistance that we could perhaps, resources or something that...
¿Con quién? What we'll do is we'll get your name and your vamos a conseguir su nombre y vamos a hacer una cita con usted y hacer una reunión contigo, ¿está bien?
Okay.
Y mi amigo aquí, él va
Le voy a ayudar.
Ok, gracias.
No, por favor,
Se me
señor está-
olvidó.
o sea, que están o sea, a favor de aquella persona, el otra la tuvo como aconsejando mal en contra de mí. No puede estar. Debe ser una persona imparcial. Yo lo que he mirado que es imparcial ese señor y no me va a ayudar. El otro me trató de ayudar y me dijo, ¿por qué se está quejando usted, señor? Usted es el único que se queja, ¿por qué? Y le estaba enseñando una puerta que yo traía en mis manos, que estaba desastrosa. No podía traer a 5 o 6. Dice, ¿por qué se queja?
¿Usted dónde viviendo?
Deben de poner personas imparciales.
Pero esta housing, ¿dónde está Housing Authority?
No, no, ya fui para allá, pero no tiene nada que ver Housing
Pero
Authority.
¿su casa dónde es usted?
¿Eh?
¿Su casa?
Enco Trailer Park.
¿El trailer park?
Sí,
Enco,
Mobile Home.
Enco
mobile.
Trailer Park.
Okay. So, have you worked with him before, Mr. Sardine?
Not I, but I was trying to work with him when Mr. Warren asked me to work with him because he was coming to see Terry. And Terry was instructed by the previous city manager not to talk to him because of certain problems. Anyway, there has been attempts to help him. There's more to the story than what's being said right now.
Okay, and this is not the place to discuss that.
That is correct.
Okay. Entonces, si puedes tener una cita con el señor Servín, aquí está él para discutir su situación.
Pero quiero que usted me ayude lo más en profundidad en este caso, porque me la están haciendo, pero de cuadrito esta gente.
Sí, aquí
Pero
puede dejar sus...
claramente les digo que no puedo confiar en ellos.
Okay.
Si no los conociera todavía, pero el otro se paró en el pasillo y la tuvo aconsejando a Terry para que entrara a platicar con el señor alcalde, y quién sabe qué tanta cosa le dijo, y ahí está, no me dejó hablar.
Okay, vamos.
Nada, no me dio chance ni de hablar una palabra.
Ok, vamos a comenzar de nuevo. Usted le va a dar información para contactarte y hacer una cita.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Hodge.
Te lo agradezco.
After he meets with Servine, I will talk to Servine and find out what the situation is, and Castro and I can call him. We'll follow up and let him know. Okay.
Seguro que sí.
Probably the best thing to do would have Mr. Servine follow up with all of us. Send in a follow-up memo.
All right. Thank you. Okay, that is all that I have. Wait a minute. You can stop the clock, Mr. Kim. That is all that I have for public comments. And now we have time for the City Council comments and reports of meetings attended. And this time I'll start to my extreme right. Mr. Castro.
No comments.
No comments. Thank you, Mr. Castro. Mayor Pro Tem Kim.
Okay, I'm very not satisfied. Council been left black without information. With
Please
all the
start the timer.
all the information out there, we already issued the bond, and then we didn't get it. Council member didn't get any information. And the information registered as collateralized, Major H bond, supposedly revenue bond, registered as collateralized. If something goes wrong here, and that's why we got just left black. We don't have any information. We even keep saying the information not ready, but internet, they already have a publicly there. So I don't know what's going on in our city here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Hodge?
Just to inform you through ICTC that we are moving forward still on the survey and the information coming in on the transit center, and it's going very well, so in a timely manner. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Ms. Hurtado?
I wanted to report that I had the opportunity, my first opportunity, to attend the National Council of La Raza annual conference, which was held in L.A. We were lucky to have them close by, and I was invited to attend, which was actually a dream of mine for very, very many years. As an immigration consultant, it's always been a concern to learn more on how to assist the members of this community who happen to be, many of them are immigrants. And I learned a lot, met a lot of people, a lot of opportunities to get to know a little more about how other communities that are similar to ours operate, their needs. It was a huge, huge conference at the LA Convention Center, and they had a huge free expo for the community that came in and had free medical exams, eye exam, ear exams, all kinds of freebies and information and fun stuff for the families. It was really neat. So I came back with a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, a lot of experiences that were new for me, but at the same time also is letting the other areas out there get to know who we are, right? Spectrum was out there, and we were able to have a video and show our support for the community, what certain members that went out there were able to do. So that was again, a personal experience of mine, which I paid for myself, but I was it was willing. I was willing to do that, and it was worth it because it was a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to learn. So I'm really, really excited to have done that, and I'm hoping to go once again. But next year it'll be in Kansas City, so hopefully I have that opportunity anyway. It was a really good feeling to see all the Latinos out there motivated, and people who are just your everyday persons. When you look at them on the outside, but on the inside, they're really motivated, and people who are charged to not only defend their communities, but to empower them. So I'm ready for more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hurtado. I just want to say that I'd like to thank Ms. Sandra Towler and the Arts Commission for having a reception for the art in public places. I know, Mr. Hodge, you had a big hand in this on the corner of 2nd and Imperial, and you were there. And I also see that there's one going up on David Navarro and 98.
People ask, what is it?
Yeah, it's avant-garde art, I guess.
3D, sir.
Right, 3D. I also would like to find out if we have a status on our drought restriction. I know that the county, that the state has El Centro has done some of this, and I've noticed that we've been watering parks in the middle of the afternoon, and we must be in compliance too.
Yes, the essence of the drought compliance is to have an average use of 172 gallons per day per capita. We're actually in the neighborhood of under 150.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, we're okay.
Right.
But we're still continuing on trying to get some information so we can actually.
But please continue to water the parks, please.
Yes.
And there should be an agenda item coming to council
Okay.
at the next meeting with regard to outdoor watering.
But I believe it's in the best interest to water at night or early in the morning.
Do you want?
Not at 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, but I don't want this to stop watering the parks.
Just to bring you up to speed, we have fertilized and reseeded some of these
Oh,
fields,
okay.
and we have to water them
moist.
on a constant basis. Otherwise, our we'll be right back to square one
Thank you.
if we do not. So that's the reason behind that.
I appreciate that.
May I interject?
Mr. Yes, Mr. Hodge.
Mr. Finley, since you're up there, what's the newest? How are we doing on the parks? We have a presentation. Okay. Then I'll wait.
Okay.
You do? Okay, we'll wait.
All right.
And then I'm very concerned about a couple of houses that we've discussed before, the 900 block of Rockwood and the 400 block of Washington that are still standing, but they're burned. So if we can get some information on that.
Please. It's moving on its own now. It's frightening.
Okay, moving on to consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the City Council and Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, Successor Agency, or the Calexico Financing Authority, and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. There's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Would anyone like to pull an item?
I would like to pull number 5 just for an explanation what Spillman Technologies are.
Okay, number 5 is pulled.
I would like to pull number 7, please.
And number 7, is there, seeing that there is no other interest in pulling items, is there a motion to approve 4 and 6?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Hurtado. Is there a
Second.
second by Mr. Hodge? Please vote. All those in favor, please respond by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Number 5, the approval for out-of-state travel for 2 police officers to attend the upcoming Spillman Technologies 2014 Users Conference to be held at Salt Lake City, Utah.
And I do apologize. I was just trying to look at the backup, and I know that in my review with you, City Manager, I forgot to ask you.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to figure out what it is, and I've never really had an explanation what that is. So.
Do you have a question or a specific concern?
Just, what is Spillman Technologies?
Okay, thank you.
Well, Spillman's been around for about 30 years. It's a technology, it's a software where it helps dispatch, and multi-agencies to go on live and regarding to, it's what you've seen Leo done, Miramon, where it's a communication where sister cities can see what we're looking at. When I say sister cities, other agencies, such as the fire department, the feds, Brawley, and so forth. It's a software that helps track things that are going on at this moment, which has been around for 30 years. And it's a training that these officers, it's going to be a sergeant who are going to be managing Spillman, and they're going to be learning how to upgrade it, how to work its comp stats, meaning crime analysis and so forth. So when you ask for, hey, how many people have been arrested for what type of crimes, we'll know right there and then with a push of a button. So, I mean, it's up-to-date technology.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Hodge?
Yeah, read an article, I don't know how new it is, but I think in San Diego they have, where they carry it on their uniform, a recorder and video. You see that happening for our department?
Well, we see that in the near future. We have one officer that's testing it out to see how it's working out in the field and so forth. So that's something that we're looking at.
Okay. I understand El Centro has that. El
Centro has it, so we're looking into it.
Okay.
So the city has been using this technology already for a while?
We've been using it for quite a while, for about maybe, I don't know, I'm going to say, I'll be guessing, so 5 to 10 years.
Okay. Any other questions for Sergeant Legaspi?
Thank you for the explanation.
Did you have a question, Mr.
Yes,
Kim?
I do. Probably from the management, or what the fund, we're going to use it for this one for the general fund or some grant coming from that?
It's through the training fund. That's what we're using it for, through.
Training fund, which is a general fund.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Ms. Hurtado. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hodge. Please vote. And it looks like the motion carries unanimously. I'm just waiting for Ms. Hurtado to press the, there it is.
Okay.
Thank you. And number 7 was pulled by Mr. Hodge, which is the
Yes.
approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Calexico in its capacity as a legislative body to the City of Calexico Community Facilities District 2003-1 Bravo Rodilas, authorizing the levy of special taxes within such district fiscal year 14-15. Mr. Hodge, is there a question?
Right. Question, do these taxes go up every year?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Councilman Hodge, this is an annual engineering study that's done to evaluate whether they have to raise the levy for the CFD or whether they can leave it alone.
Is it Earth or Heath?
They're only allowed to go up, I think it's 2%. But this levy is...
And that's in that area, please forgive me, how do you call it, Hearth or Heath? Hearth area?
No.
That's not it?
No.
Okay.
Bravo is out further east, is it not?
I don't know where it is.
Bravo Rodilas, same as the last year we brought it to, we should not to the CFT bond issuing because the property tax itself, the city has to provide all the parks and street service. But that time when they built this project, they made a CFT project to charging them the tax only that areas. It's not fair for the people who live in there.
That's my question. I mean, what we're charging them, are they getting?
This shows up on the property tax. This is a levy against the property tax for the parcel owners.
But
But
what
another-
are they
another
getting
tax.
in return?
There is no, they're getting, maintenance is being done on the property, or on the medians and the grass
Of
areas.
course, no parks because those developers left and there are no parks. Or are there parks there?
Well, there are other things that are being maintained.
I had the wrong place. The Hearth or
Hearthstone, which is north
a
of
lot
Cole.
of people tell me, what are we getting for having to pay these taxes? And you know, of course, they're always upset that there's no parks, but it wasn't our fault. And so I was just concerned. We're raising this. Are they getting something in return that, or I mean, we convinced them that this money, this tax is being used in a good
Generally, it's maintenance on the medians, the curbs,
All right, so
all of the
something's
common
being done.
area.
Okay.
Any other questions?
All right, sir. Thank you.
Seeing that there is none, is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Hodge. Is there a second?
I need a discussion.
I asked if there was any questions.
Well, I was trying to say that you just
Okay.
keep
Do you have
saying what
do you have a question for Mr. Quinn?
Well, I think I'm gonna say same thing questions, and then I have my opinions.
Okay, no. This is a question you need to ask Mr. Quinn right now.
Well, actually, it's Mr. Quinn. It's answered the last year same thing.
Okay, so what is it
So
you'd like to find out?
I try to say my opinion to the public.
Okay.
Which is the property tax. CFD tax is a separate tax from the property tax.
Right.
They have double taxes.
Yeah, you mentioned that already.
Which is that areas been unfairly that areas have been charging two different taxes, and do they get the extra service? No, they get same service as the maintenance street. So we should not charging another CFD tax.
Okay,
And
that's your
then-
point?
That's my point,
Okay.
and I strongly we should stop charging the CFT taxes.
Thank you for your point, Mr. Kimka. Point well taken. And there's a motion on the floor by Hurtado. There's a second by Hodge. Please vote.
No, it's actually the other way, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Strike that.
It's okay.
I first did. No. It's just the motion.
Motion was made by Hurtado and seconded by Hodge.
Was it?
And the motion carries 3-2. Thank you very much. We have items on information only, which is the Business Improvement District minutes for the regular meeting of June 11th, 2014. Any discussion or questions on that item? Seeing that there is none, we'll go down to number 9, which is the Streets Department and Parks Department programs. And that, I believe, any questions? That was by item 9 by Nick Servine.
I have a question,
Okay.
if you don't mind. I see that there's a letter here. It's dated, and this might be for Mr. Finley. It's dated August the 5th, and I know that we've had some adjustments as far as who is it that's going to be responsible for parks from here on in. But I'd like to also know, and this may be for you, City Manager Warren, is we do have a parks subcommittee, and I keep talking about that because we have not dissolved that subcommittee as of yet. And I'm seeing that this correspondence here is being directed to Mr. Kim. However, I would like to know that if the subcommittee is going to still continue to be working together, first of all, maybe we ought to start reestablishing some work for the subcommittee. And number two, some recognition for that subcommittee. So when that you are writing any emails or any correspondence or issues that have to do with the parks right now, that you ensure that you also let us know.
I agree with you.
So that,
Was
I
there
guess it's a
something
question.
issued to Mr. Kim?
It's a question about, if the subcommittee is myself at this point and Mr. Castro.
Right.
Where are we going to be at? Are we going to dissolve that so that this whole council is in charge now of parks? Or are we still going to go back to the other structure where we were working with a subcommittee? Because this here is not directed to the subcommittee. I'm not seeing it until now. And I'm not sure where now we're going to be,
Well,
how we're going to be structured, pretty much.
I'm in favor of subcommittee. They should be respected.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hurtado. Which item are you referring to?
This letter here,
Yeah,
What item is that under?
that was here on your desk.
Oh.
On the
That's in response to a request for information by Councilmember Kim. He wanted to know what the breakdown was for the grant, the $593,000 grant. But
Right.
we're
Here's
here
what it
to
is.
work with everybody.
There hasn't been any correspondence whatsoever or any direction of more more focus in working with the, and I know that may be for many different reasons, but I would propose that we go back to that so that we can actually have some more focus. Because I know that it's great that everybody wants to be involved, everybody has concerns, but as far as going down and actually doing the work, we need to know, I would like to know, do we or do we not still have the interest of having a subcommittee?
I believe it is pertinent at this point to have a subcommittee so that unless...
We'll tell you what we'll do. We'll schedule a subcommittee meeting. I'll have somebody call, and we'll have everybody there, and we'll report on what's been done and where we're going. There's the council has made it very clear that parks are an issue that has to be addressed, and the three of us have made it a priority, and there's a lot of work being done.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, supposedly I am the one who's supposed to be guilty to ask what's going on in this parks.
No.
And
Mr.
every council member has the right to ask
Kim,
what's
hold
going
on. Please,
and the other one is
reverse your tone.
Okay.
Don't
Yell,
reverse your
Kim,
tone.
I have
the
a
other one
headache.
is-
I have a headache.
The other one is our members subcommittee is they have a parks and street, whatever they had called it. More than years I've been here, council, as a year and a half. What happens? I'm the one who's asking what's going on, and put in the agenda. And they are not doing anything, almost nothing. And then when I ask something criticizing me for this one, I'm asking for that one.
We are not criticizing. All we're asking is that the rest of us get the information
Yes, we
as
do.
well.
Yeah.
Remember, we're not here to fight City Hall. We are City Hall.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Right.
So I have a council members that I have a question. There's nothing wrong to they
No,
give me
nothing
answer.
wrong.
I have nothing wrong with the
And
question.
Councilman
Because
Kim.
subcommittee is there, I cannot ask. That's I think some question.
I think you're right, but I think Mrs. Councilman Hurtado's point is well taken, that at times the subcommittees are not properly respected, and they need to be. So when these gentlemen are working on parks, they need to include the subcommittee, and then from there the subcommittee reports out.
Again,
Like all the other committees.
during the briefing,
But
I
you have
asked
a
him.
right to ask.
During
Mr. Kim.
the briefing, I asked him what's going on.
Yeah.
That's the right answer to me. That's all.
Okay,
So
no.
because you guys take the subcommittee, the other council members cannot ask him.
No, you
That's
have a right.
that's
You
too
have a
much.
right,
Okay,
sir.
Mr. Kim, the point is well taken.
Okay. But may I compliment, who did the 5-year program projects here? Who did that? Well, excellent, thank you, because it's a lot better detailed. And I'm very pleased with it. Well, I have this one, it's folded, and it's instead of just a list of streets, right? This is an improvement.
Yes, and for your homework, Mr. Hodge, you're supposed to memorize that for the next meeting.
I will, sir.
And
And
recite
we
it
have
on demand.
project descriptions, so thank you, Mr. Savine and the staff.
Very, very good, Mr. Servine.
A better layout, a better program.
And it's good to see Mr. Finley back at these meetings.
And I'm very happy to hear that coal repairs will start on Monday. Thank you.
Okay.
The
Do you have a
street-
question?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Kim.
So right now, Mr. Hachi was mentioning again about the street of Colord. Last time I've been informed the Colord is going to be starting next Monday. It's been more than a month.
There was a miscommunication with the contractor where he forgot to get encroachment permit from Caltrans. We, the city, and staff included, we pushed everything to try to make that happen quickly, and it did happen quickly.
So when are
Typically-
they going to start? Not yet. You don't have any date.
They've already started some of the preparatory work this week, and Monday they're going to start with the grinding. We are also looking at starting at off hours, early in the morning and late at night, so that we don't disrupt traffic.
Yes. Okay. Then I believe that I was mentioning a while ago with the briefing. Please start as soon as possible. At least repair the pothole sidewalk as soon as possible. We have a lot of complaints from the community and parks too. I believe I wanted to have a more details of time schedule to prepare for the community, and also restroom is better back conditions. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Any other questions for this item?
Not from me, Mr. Mayor.
Seeing that there is none, we'll go to item number 10, which is the status report on the wastewater facilities and assessment plan update. And any questions for Mr. Servine?
No, it looks like we're on target, Mr. Savine.
We're on target. As a matter of fact, just earlier, I received a email from the inspector that inspected our facilities, and we're constantly in contact with him. As a matter of fact, Mr. Finley spoke to him earlier today. And because we've been actually making some progress, they've talked to CARB, California Air Resources Board, about possibly removing our permit. So they're expecting a letter from me, which I'll get to them tomorrow. And because we started operating the flare as of May 1st. So because of that, we've actually exceeded their expectations. And so they're giving us a little bit of breathing room.
Good.
And working with us.
Very good to hear.
Thank you, Mr. Servin.
The other part of it is, too, Corolla Engineers was out to do the assessment of the wastewater treatment plant and will shortly provide us a report as to whether we should repair and improve the current plant or to construct a new plant.
Okay.
That's going to be decided.
Yeah, they're doing an engineering analysis, and you'll be provided that.
Thank you, Mr. Wayne.
Hold on a second. Do you want to bring it back here? Any other things, Mr. Hodge?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kim.
Yes, I believe that we have a wasting water, so running out to the, I believe, New River. The wasting water running through the New River, isn't it?
Well, we treat it. Then yes, the effluent goes out to the New River.
Don't swim.
But I believe that the New River still has such bad smells. A lot of citizens nearby the New River, they're complaining.
And we always get accused of the bad smells, although it's not us.
It's not us.
It's not the water going into the New River, believe me, is cleaner than the water that's in the New River from our plant.
Okay, so is there any chance we can looking for the restore? I believe the other city, the IID, that they have a cover up to the soil water, so they protect. They was covered for the smells. So can we do with the IID?
The situation here is that the New River, even though it goes through the city of Calexico, is not our river. It's governed by other agencies, Army Corps of Engineers, Fish and Game, and so on. Mm-hmm. So even if we wanted to put a cover, even if we want to put it in a pipe, we can't.
Right. It's not the IID property.
No. However, the New River Committee, and I'm part of that committee, so is Mr. Hodge, we're working together to try to recover and just make it a better place, including putting the river in a double box, reinforced concrete box, and then actually disinfect it and re-release it into the river. So that is an ongoing project.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Servin. And we've come to the item which is future agenda items, and at this moment, I'd like to forego any future agenda items because we have a very important budget meeting in 2 weeks where the budget will be presented. And at that time, anyone wanting to make future agenda items can do so. So without any further ado...
Okay, can I come in tomorrow and make one for after the budget meeting?
Sure, that would be good. But right now, I think we need to focus on our budget meeting.
I can't state what I want, even though it's going to be after the budget meeting.
Well, okay, Mr. Hodge.
Because I do agree. I think it's very important that Mr. Quinn and Mr. Warren have all the attention to work on the budget, and we need them there, and I'm looking forward to the presentation. But afterwards, I would like City Attorney to have put on the closed session performance and evaluation of our interim city manager for the 21st of August, the 21st.
Okay.
Now,
That's not the next meeting. The next meeting's on the 19th.
Right.
But that will be in a future agenda items for the meeting in September.
For September.
Right, because I'm foregoing any addition of future agenda items because of the budget and the importance of that.
Isn't that going to be presented in August, sir?
Yeah, it'll be presented next.
we're doing our best to have it for the next meeting.
It right now for the.
Hold on. Hold on.
We're doing everything we can to try to have the budget for next time, and we're working night and day on it. And So we're doing everything we can to get it to the next meeting.
Okay. So then we'll forego any future agenda items until that meeting.
I just have a question.
Which meeting, the 19th?
Haven't
Till the
we
19th.
We've already had 2 evaluation in closed session items? Have we had 2 already?
We've had, you know,
It's gonna
I've
be the
been,
third?
I've been to 3 meetings, and you've had 2 of them on July 1st and July 15th.
So this is going to be the 3rd evaluation?
I guess so.
I don't see why it's so necessary.
Well, I mean, I have that right to call it, and I'll respect the 19th, Mr. Mayor.
Let me ask you a question. Is this related to the investigation in any way?
Absolutely not, sir. I respect your position. Absolutely not.
Okay, seeing that there is no more future agenda items, this meeting
I
is
have
not,
future agendas.
we don't have any future agenda items
I'd
until
like
we
to-
get this budget done. So I am foregoing all
I'd like
agenda
to have
items,
a
and
future
I will
agenda for swimming
adjourn
pool.
the meeting. Thank you.